Hey guys, another week, another game dev vlog, and in case you are wondering why there was no vlog last week, it's because, well, I was sick. Unfortunately, that did take quite a bit of time out of actually getting any work done, but before falling sick last weekend, I did actually get a decent amount of progress made on Everybody Edits Universe. So I've started the actual server-side and client-side projects, the actual code bases, and I've been working on getting a real-world version of the networking code implemented. So in the past I had done various tech demos and experiments to see what structures would work, but this time around it was making the real deal and trying to work out the best ways of handling things and making sure it would remain as stable as possible, because we want the server to ultimately be able to handle thousands of people playing at any given time. A lot of that's going to depend on the hardware of the server itself, but it also depends highly on the software being designed in a way that isn't going to run into roadblocks if too many people are trying to communicate at the same time. So now that I've got all that basic stuff implemented, the next thing to do is going to be focusing more on the client-side game mechanics, building physics and actual gameplay and more rendering code as well, and that is essentially what I'm going to be starting on this next week. It's going to be a lot of interesting work, and we do have some pretty major goals to get to before the end of the month, which is fast approaching. We are over halfway through January, meaning over 1/24 of the way through the year. So it's interesting to see the time going by. Kind of scary sometimes, but it does kind of motivate you to work a little bit harder and make a little more progress a little more quickly. And of course, being sick didn't really help that. It definitely delayed some things. But I have been getting back onto things slowly over the past few days, been making more progress, and wrapping up some of the networking stuff that I had slightly unfinished. The message sending system is now slightly more refined. We've decided how we want to handle numbers. It's just all coming together, and I think now it's at a good enough point where we don't really need to worry about the networking right now, and we need to focus on those other actual game mechanics. So yeah, as I said, that's what we're going to be working on this next week. It's going to be fun to see how all this goes and to make an interesting game out of this. Obviously, Everybody Edits Universe is not being launched into closed beta in January. That's very clear right now. It's most likely going to be April at this point. That way we're not trying to rush things to get it out sooner, but there's nothing saying it can't be if everything does go really smoothly. So really, that is basically it. We've pretty much just got the networking stuff in right now. I guess Alex has been making some good progress on the graphics, even if it has taken a little while for him to get there. We do now have basic versions of some of the basic blocks, and we've got the smiley slowly getting more towards what it needs to look like. There's still going to be a lot of work to do there with refining the style and figuring out the actual character of the graphics, and especially the smileys, because those are going to be an iconic part of the game. Up until now, the game has pretty much used the Facebook emoticons. That's what they were initially, and of course there have been many iterations on coming up with more unique versions of the smiley design, but overall that's what it was in the beginning. As with most of the blocks in the game, those were actually Mario blocks. All of the original basic blocks were modified versions of one empty block from one of the Mario games. The metal ore blocks were from another Mario game. The grass blocks were from a Mario fan game. So, yeah, there wasn't a whole lot of original graphics in the game to begin with. So, Alex especially is trying to come up with new styles for everything that looks similar to what we're used to and has a similar feeling, but that is actually unique and has its own character and all that. It's just going to be an interesting creative process over these next couple months, and I'm definitely looking forward to the various different points throughout it, and then looking back on how much progress we have made once we get to that point. So anyway, I guess that is going to have to be it for today. So as always, I do want to thank my contributors over on Patreon. It is definitely a huge help. And of course, if you want to check out my Patreon page for yourself, the link is down in the description below. And of course, I want to thank the Everybody Edits patrons as well. So yeah, I'll see you around. Goodbye.